within our company. So there's many factors impacting a good operational PMO and project development, making sure that the right project at the right time is chosen. So we would start off with obviously the business plan. What is our marketing bringing to the table? Do they bring new clients, new customers, new businesses? Do we have requirements for additional capacity? Do we reduce capacity? What is the current date? What is the forecast? Then we have, as we spoke about industrial engineering, then we would have the performing of the industrial analysis. They will identify which projects are a priority with the biggest impact to the business and to the business's bottom line. They're trying to identify the gaps based on current conditions versus new conditions, what the requirements would be. Then they can create together a project portfolio, which they can work with small, medium, large-term plans. Then they're making a plan to the execution of the project plans. From the engineering side, you can almost like go through the definition, the specification of the processes, generating in various internal standards. We know that each country, each region, maybe each location has certain standards that they're governing by, but creating an engineering internal standard to the company, making sure that we have the McDonald's that no matter from where our products are coming out, they always have the same look and the same feel. Where processing and minimum requirements are also very important, and these would come out as the expertise from our manufacturing engineering, selection and operation tools, and then execution and documentation and management of change. So as we look at execution and documentation, what do we really understand from that is we can provide support to the PMO from a documentation perspective. What type of documents do we standardize across every project, or what standards do we creating? But it can also be to the various templates that the engineering group or the engineering project lead will have to use in order to show the same type of approach from project to project. Now, when we go and look at various of these companies that work under a PMO or no, we're always recognizing that training, development, and coaching is always necessary. You always have young engineers coming on board that don't have necessarily the experience on working with projects. So if you have a PMO, that is actually great because all the processes and the procedures are already laid out, and hopefully the PMO is following through, making sure that the rules are being kept and played by. But obviously, since the establishment of methods, processes, and tools includes, they're being used by the staff, by the PMO, also must provide the respective training and the activity fostering. This concerns qualifying your project managers and other stakeholders and providing further training and assistance, establish standards, operational and project tools and work. In this area of responsibility, we subsume the following for the engineering PMO functions. They can create the library of internal standardization by discipline, as I was mentioning before. Create answers of the project, organizational structure, and engineering expertise. Common engineering team, interlink between disciplines, and how you bring it all together. Train on new technological processes. We know the industry today develops very, very rapidly and very quickly. We are talking about the technical trend being exponential. So always being on the top of the newer technologies to implement good projects and to implement benefits to the company, it's always very important. The train project engineers, managers, and stakeholders as well. Very important. A lot of times, project stakeholders do not know the process of a project. They need to understand at what point their added value, their information is critical when working in projects and within a PMO environment. Coaching in project management and daily project work, standardized schedule, budget, risk documentation, engineering gate processes, etc. I want to mention that the engineering gate processes are probably different from a normal project life cycle milestone. You can have various milestones within the project, for example, from the business case, from the initiation, and then you work through, and before one is going to upload their project for approval, there are various requirements of readiness of the project to ensure that you have a good quality project, but you are always maintaining your budget and your timeline. Then you can also obviously develop a career path for project managers and support your team to become excellent project managers. If an engineering professional wants to be quintessential project manager, he or she will need more than just top-notch technical expertise or the ability to manage budgets and schedules. That is more that it's required. So increasingly and more in demand, successful project management requires that they ramp up on their communication skills, their relationship building, as well as their leadership and influencing skills. There are many courses from universities to libraries of books where these fundamentals can be learned and developed. So project management in engineering projects focuses on early project phases, including examples from technical projects. Specific standards for schedule and budget planning can be also standardized in a way that one can follow the structure to ensure that all project aspects has been covered by the project. So as an example, you can create templates for how you break down your scope. That same can follow through your budget, can follow through your schedule template, so that you're making sure that every document aligns well within a good consistency. We also have to be realistic that even the most well-developed projects are rarely going exactly to plan. There is always some sort of a risk that it's in there. So establishing contingency strategies so you don't automatically freak out if your building project starts taking like a tower of the Pisa kind of lean, or like the picture that you see on the screen where engineering is coming back from two sides, construction, and they meet at the middle saying, what happened here? So working out some likely risk factors at various stages and how one can reduce their impact should they crop up. This is not to say you should plan for failure, simply that you need to develop the ability to recognize potential variables so you are prepared to manage them. As a project engineer and a project manager, even program or portfolio manager, everybody needs to be open to new ideas and ways of doing things. There is often more than one way to reach a goal. So going into multi-project management, with the functions in the area of multi-project management, the PMO is meant to create a clear overview of all the projects and ensure the currency of the necessary data. Sometimes the same project or program must be released in different business units of a given company at the same time. Engineering and PMO must provide stakeholders with valuable information so that they can understand those new releases, make sound decisions on impact to their business unit. For this, you need to prepare and conduct portfolio meetings properly. So an example could be very easily like strategic projects. If a company would like to develop a new product and impact the launch in various business units, and if that requires new capital, for example, then that capital project potentially has to be multiplied at the same time in the various parts of the world, potentially. So a good coordination from the PMO office, a good coordination from a structured engineering function would be very, very important to ensure the standardization, to ensure same solutions in every part of the business. So the topic of multi-project management and the regular activities involved is certainly one of the key responsibilities of the PMO, and maybe not conclusive, but they include ensuring data quality, preparing the reports, identifying deviations and taking countermeasures, controlling the flow of information in case of escalation, exchange with finance accounting, controlling cross-project dependencies, overview of cross-project objective, resources, and deadline, preparing and conducting program and portfolio meetings. When working on projects within the same industry, the PMO and engineering project managers are more prone to develop sounder technical solutions, align a program, a strategy to the entire company. All project execution done the same way, no matter what part of the world. As I mentioned, the McDonald's. Become more knowledgeable working with these experts in the different processes. Benefits of cost structuring and control, use of the same engineering between their various business units. There are benefits to timeline control and benefits to risk and quality control. So the strategic support. Engineering support to PMO function can encompass various items. Support of top management, prioritization of projects and ideas, distribution of strategic information, strategic alignment of different ideas and projects, selection of the right projects. How do we quantify? How do we work through making sure that the right project is executed at the right time with the best solution? Cost benefit analysis of all the projects and ideas. Check for achieved strategic contribution throughout the various business units up to the company. The lead of the top performers, PMO, is most advanced when it comes to the following 4 PMO functions. Strategic capacity planning, managing the skills of staff members, provision of career paths for project managers, proof of strategic contribution of projects. So there has to be an alignment, not only how we're using the documentation, how we're dividing our various type of projects, how do we manage this type of project, but all the strategic planning, making sure that everything is aligned with the business, it's very, very critical. So just because one knows the process does not mean that you lead a project successfully. Successful engineering, project management, and PMO is not just about what you do or know, but how you do it. Having the support of an engaged expert team is critical to business project success and largely comes down to approach, expectations, attitude, and knowledge of those working with. In several businesses, the different projects are led by manufacturing, operation, maintenance lead, and personnel versus qualified engineering teams. And we all know what happens when this is the case. That is not their primary working role. Their maintenance managers will have to work on maintenance. That's their priority, keeping the equipment up, keeping the facility up to produce. Usually projects are falling on the back burner. So they are always put on the back and sometimes just receive partial attention. While they are experts and successful in their own role, these managers do not develop the same tacit experience of a project engineer or project manager working under a structured PMO. Subsequently, their projects are often over budget, behind schedule, or lack the required quality of project execution. Sometimes they even forget items that should have been included in the scope of work. So very, very important that one company has a good PMO, and even if they don't work under a PMO umbrella, just try to standardize the ways of doing, the ways of executing, the ways of developing projects, and always try to maintain a standard of how you're executing some of these projects. So really with this, it was the end of what I had to share, and I am open to any questions from the audience.
Hello, good afternoon in Mexico. I am in Mexico. I have a question about the structure that you mentioned. I understand as for your presentation that it's possible to have a PMO with a project engineer to attend or to deliver the projects to the client, and it's not necessary to have a project manager assigned to several projects. Is that your idea? I mean, we don't have a project manager, but I have a project engineer supported by the PMO.
Correct. So if I understand your question well, you know, there are companies that do have a PMO where the structures and, you know, the PMO is releasing the ways that you execute on a program, on a portfolio, on a project. So we know that not all projects are equal and the same. You have smaller projects that are very easy to not just engineer, but manage. You don't necessarily need two people on it, but you do have projects that are extremely large, strategic projects that potentially tend over, you know, a very large scope where you have civil work, you have new buildings, you have new equipment, you have new processes. That becomes a little bit more complex. But yes, a project engineer, if with the right training, could also develop the project from an engineering perspective, but run the project from a logistical perspective and follow with the budget, report on the budget and on the progress of the schedule. But those are mainly smaller projects, I would say, where you don't necessarily need a project manager as long as the project engineer has the appropriate training.
Okay, yeah, understood. Thank you for your presentation.
You're welcome. Any other questions, comments, experiences from the team?
That's important.
Within your environment, how do you see things? How do you work? What is your company doing from a project management perspective?
In my case, we are trying to implement something like you say. I mean, we have a PMO and we have several project managers, but we have projects, small projects. So we are trying to implement a light process to don't assign a project manager to the projects, but we need to have a project engineer as technical leader to implement the projects, but with support of the PMO. So I think we are this presentation is helpful for me because we are trying to go in that direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Yeah, and that's a lot like that. You know, in some cases the PMOs are more present and more dictating, while in other companies the PMOs are just a guiding structure, but they are the backbone to bring everything together to align with the company business objectives and the vision of the company. But yeah, very important to have at least some standardized way of how you execute projects. You know, I have been working many years within an industrial environment, mainly heavy manufacturing. And it was always very important that when we developed a technical specification requirement to purchase an asset or to purchase a service, that it had the same structure. So no matter where it was worked off of, no matter what project, if you're going to the same supplier from different angles, from different business units, that they see the same image, for example, from what it's required for them to quote, how they're going to develop their equipment, how they're going to customize their equipment for your company in order to ensure internal standardization to your company. And so I think the biggest and the best example would be when a company launches a strategic project and it affects various business units. We all want to make sure that that type of equipment or that process is identical no matter where you're installing it. So coming together as a group, as an engineer, as a PMO, as a business, it's going to be very important to have that structure. Good comment, Carlos. Thank you. What company are you working with, if you don't mind me asking?
Converging is the name of the company.
What are you doing?
We are integration of integrator of security solutions.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. Okay.
Okay.
Any other experiences that anybody wants to share, maybe from their business? No, quiet group.
Gabriela, nice presentation. Thank you very much. Carlos, thank you for sharing your knowledge and your experience. Well, Gabriela, it's nice to take you here, to be here and share your experience, also your knowledge, your presentation. Very good, very nice presentation. And well, thank you everybody to attend the presentation. And well, we'll see you next time.
Yeah, and definitely, if any questions arise, you can always connect with me on LinkedIn. I am on LinkedIn, so you can connect with me, and we can share experiences even through the professional network.
Yeah, especially on the PMO side.
Yeah,
Gabriela
yeah.
has, as she said, many experience for many years. So you can contact her through LinkedIn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We always learn. I mean, this project management, you're always learning something new every day. So the more experiences you have, the more idea sharing we have. I think we all grow as professionals. So, all right. Well, I thank you so much for participating and hope to see you soon in the next one.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Gabriela.
All right. Bye.
Thank you all from the PMO. Thank you.